300 kilometers south of Dar es Salaam sits the coastal town of Kilwa, itself a somewhat unremarkable place if it wasn't the departure point for a trip that takes visitors into a world lost in time. An ideal destination for anyone looking to connect with the past. Standing majestically across the channel is Gereza Fort, constructed hundreds of years ago by the Portuguese to serve as a shield for the precious island. Today, it stands as a giant welcoming stone for excited tourists and archaeologists who want to learn more about the once vibrant city of Kilwa Kisiwani.
Though later on was renovated.
Athman Abdallah is a native of Kilwa and works as a tour guide at the UNESCO World Heritage Site.
Coming from 15th century.
As he takes us through the ruins, each feature seems to tell a different story of civilizations, of conquests and triumphs by Shirazi Arabs, Portuguese and Omani sultans. The Portuguese arrived here in the early 16th century and quickly put down roots, often by force. It was an ideal base to manage their nascent global trading network, which stretched around the world.
Portuguese came here as soldiers. So what they wanted is to rule the trading activities on the island of Kilwa. They bombed the island, they conquered, the island. After to conquer the island, they constructed this fort in order to protect themselves against the enemies.
This structure was not just a regular fortress. It was a military installation constructed to protect the island from outside invasion. The Portuguese constructed such fortresses in many places around the world, from Maputo in Mozambique, Mombasa in Kenya, to Goa in India, Oman in the Middle East, and Macau in China. Now, this is the oldest fortress in Africa. The walls of the fort were made so strong to resist blasts. This castle was often the subject of violent altercations between the Portuguese and the Arabs. Whoever controlled the fort controlled activity on the island. The Portuguese had too much power for the locals, but even they eventually fell to other raiders.
They survived all in East African coast for about 200 years. Then their ruling system were swept away. The Portuguese were swept away by the Oman Arabs. The Oman Arabs, after to sweep away the Portuguese, they gained control of this island. Then they did the reconstruction of this fort. As we see, zigzag decorations on top of the tower comes from the Oman Arabs. The door comes from the Oman Arabs.
Islam was already well established on the island by the time the Portuguese arrived. The Shirazi Arabs or Persians brought it to East Africa from the 10th century, and it soon spread. Abdallah takes us to the great mosque of Kilwa Kisiwani, constructed in the 13th century. It stands as a testament to the island's spiritual and architectural grandeur. Its graceful arches and towering columns speak of a time when faith and artistry intertwined to create something truly magnificent. Does this represent the presence of Arabs? It means Arabs were here.
Yes. This representing the presence of the Arabs from Persia, from South Arabian countries. Also, the main thing is representing the Islam on this island.
On this island,
yes.
This is the oldest standing mosque on East Africa's coast. According to UNESCO, its great dome was the largest in the region until the 19th century.
Was constructed by someone called Hassan bin Ali. Hassan bin Ali came from Iran. from the town called Shirazi. He came, he bought the island from local chief, and then for the first time he introduced the sultanate, he introduced the copper coins, money for the first time in Kilwa was introduced around 11th century, 1,000 years ago, and then introduced the stone buildings.
The sultans who ruled the island constructed 2 palaces from where trading activities were organized. But Kilwa Kisiwani's legacy extends beyond its mosques and fortresses. The island was once a bustling hub of trade. Its strategic location, coupled with the wealth generated from trade in gold, ivory, and slaves, catapulted the city into prosperity, attracting merchants from the Middle East, India, and later China. Chinese porcelain shards scattered along the shoreline bear witness to the island's cosmopolitan past, a time when Kilwa Kisiwani was a beacon of commerce and culture. The gold on the island came from nearby the Great Zimbabwe. Today, as tourists flock to explore its ruins and scholars seek to unlock its secrets, Kilwa Kisiwani continues to captivate their imagination.
For example, in the year of 2022 July to 2023 June, the total number of the tourists per season, it was about 6,592. But when you look at the record of this year, this year season from July to today, April, the numbers are 6,137. So when you compare to these 2 different years, you see that the number of tourists are increasing, because we are not yet finishing the season of the year of 2023-2024.
With each passing year, the allure grows stronger, beckoning travelers from around the globe to discover the magic of this ancient island paradise. And as we leave the island, one thing is clear. Though its walls may crumble and its streets may fade, the echoes of this greatness will forever linger in the winds that blow over its shores. Enoch Sikolia, CGTN, Kilwa Kisiwani, Tanzania.